Welcome to the DYNAMO Show. This is episode 48, where we interview experts who are living well and doing good. My name is James Erdt, the chief architect of WOW for a brand called DYNAMO Entrepreneur. We predominantly support speakers, authors, experts, internet marketers, all those individuals on the planet that are doing good around the world. And we have one of them here today. His name is Nathan Clarke. Welcome to the DYNAMO Show, my friend.
Thanks for having me, James.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. Now, let's get right into it, okay? I would love for you to share a little bit about your story.
Yeah, that's not a problem at all. It all happens from my parents. So I'm actually adopted, which is why my last name is Clarke, and I look pretty much Chinese.
Okay, okay.
And
pretty much Chinese, or you are Chinese?
I'm 100% Chinese, as far as I know.
Good, good, good. Pretty much.
And so I always wanted to make them proud, and they always told me to do what makes me happy. And so I was originally studying law at York University here in Canada. I came to Canada in 2011.
Nice.
And
from where?
From Hong Kong.
Very good, very good. My actual CAO for DYNAMO is from Hong Kong.
Oh, wow, okay. Yeah, so my parents moved to Hong Kong like 30 years ago, adopted my brother and I, and now here I am.
Yeah.
And so I was studying pre-law at York, and then I don't know if people know, about 2 years ago or so, York University and University of Toronto went on strike. And so I didn't have classes for a month. And I decided to look for a summer job.
Okay, okay.
And with this opportunity, I found a job at a financial services company.
It's amazing that you called it an opportunity, because many would be like, oh my God, you know, this is horrible kind of thing. But you looked at it as an opportunity. So right out of the gate, that shows what your mindset is.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I wanted to be out there in the world. I wanted to make something for myself, make something of myself.
Yeah.
And I originally wanted to do that in law, and then I just did this whole 180 into finance. And after a year at that smaller firm, I then moved to Investors Group, who I now work for.
Very good, very good.
Because I believe that they are the biggest and best company.
Nice, reputable company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
very good, very good.
That's how I guess I got started.
That's awesome. So now, obviously, did you continue school, or did you just go right into that and stay there?
I mean, I ended up finishing my degree in pre-law, but it hasn't really served me in my industry.
Unless you get in trouble down the road. You know,
yeah, I mean, if I ever need to switch, right? But I can always go back to law school later, I suppose, but it's not really something that I've kind of gone into the finance industry head first and haven't looked back.
That's awesome. Now, that's all business. Now, is there a playful side to Nathan as well? Does he do any sports? Does he enjoy anything like that?
A big billiards player.
Oh, very good.
Yeah,
I love
billiards. Pretty much in the winter, every weekend, I'll play billiards, and it's nice because I'll have fun, but there's a serious side to it because I play in competitions. Okay, okay. And there's like a finance side to it as well, where I make money from those competitions.
That's right, that's right.
And then during the winter, I have to burn off all the winter weight, so I go out and cycle.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so I did...
Are you into trick shots too?
I do some trick shots. Yeah, I can do some trick shots.
It's evolving pretty fast, the whole trick shots, because now they're all ending up on YouTube, and people have these YouTube trick shot channels and stuff like that. Pretty crazy stuff. So let's talk about the financial industry, and really, what does it mean to you, and where are you really taking it?
So I think there's a huge problem in Canada, well, around the world really, where people are not educated. And so what I want to do is I want to act as a financial educator and help to educate Canadians about what is available for them to use to make themselves better off financially speaking. Because at the end of the day, no matter what they want to do, whether it's buy a house, have a family, pass on a legacy to their kids, it all involves money. And having someone there with you to know all these tips, tricks, and nuances makes the process much more easy and less stressful. Like I don't know your feeling about finances, but most people find it a really stressful topic.
I still trade goats.
Oh, okay.
Barter was the first way of exchanging some form of value, right? I'm big on barter.
Okay,
but I like money too.
Yes, money is great.
I like nice things.
Yeah.
It's okay though. I've had nothing and I've had stuff, and I like stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think most of us like stuff, right? And most of us want to keep that stuff, and most of us want more stuff. So.
Mind you, though, more importantly is though, I actually was just talking about this on one of my Instagram stories the other day, is imagine if we flipped that tithing model on its head, where we normally are putting 10% aside to 90. Imagine if we gave 90 and we really understand the laws of attraction, give, ask, give, ask, instead of like make, give a little bit.
Yeah, and that's...
what would happen?
Yeah, it would be exponential and unlimited at that point, right?
Yes.
And that's really what I want to do. Like the speaking event that I met Neil at, your colleague. It's all pro bono. We're not getting paid to speak, and really it's just about, as long as I can educate as many people as possible, then I feel like I'm doing my job.
You're obviously quite passionate about it.
Oh, I love it. I think it's such a complex industry and such a complex topic that you'll never get bored of it.
Yeah.
At least I won't.
Especially with the evolution of like digital money and cryptocurrencies now. I'm big into cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin and Ethereum, etc. But that's another topic.
Very lucrative market.
We can go on for that forever, right? So let's talk about a day in the life of right now. Obviously you're doing a lot of business. By the sounds of it, you're a workaholic, but are you?
Well, my parents have also always instilled balance in your lifestyle, right? It's very common, I think, for a lot of Asian families to be very academically focused. But my parents, because I'm adopted, because they're actually Western, were always try your best at your studies and at work, but make sure you balance that out with play and with hobbies and with people. Most importantly, I think that's the biggest thing. So a lot of my downtime on the weekends, especially, is spent with my girlfriend.
Okay, that's great. Yeah. That's great. Is she in the financial sector too?
Yes, she's an accountant.
Oh, good.
So we kind of like all stick
very
together.
Good. So you both understand the need for personal wealth.
Yes.
What does that mean to you? What does that term personal wealth mean to you?
So, I mean, it's very different for someone in the finance industry. Personal wealth, to me, means living within your means. What a lot of people now, they're living outside their means, and that causes a lot of stress and causes people to go into a lot of debt.
Majority of the world.
Majority of the world. And what people need to do is realize that their finances are important, which most people, I feel, understand. But what a lot of people miss is that they don't understand that it's urgent. A lot of people think, yes, we can focus on our finances later.
We'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll do it tomorrow. Yeah. Where that's kind of the basis of everything. Where if you have your finances in order, then everything else can happen smoothly and can happen without any type of money stress or anything like that. So that's really what personal wealth means to me. And arguably, it would be harder for someone who's making less money to attain affluence and a level of personal wealth that they're comfortable with, but by no means is it impossible for them.
How do you feel about passive?
Passive?
Passive, yeah.
I believe that almost every financial product or strategy has some sort of use. Passive is very good if you want to just put a sum of money away and not touch it for 10 or 15 years. But a lot of my clients are first-time home buyers, so they need the money soon. So what happens if we put it into the market, because most passive strategies are in the market, and then the market were to take a little bit of a correction, and now they have a lot less than we projected, and now they can't buy that house that they wanted. So it's really assigning goals for them and figuring out what their goals are and how I can help them achieve those goals.
It's a good process to go through.
Yes.
Basically, if you were to add, let's say, 3 nuggets of wisdom, to some young entrepreneurs, there's a lot of young entrepreneurs that watch this show and they're inspired by somebody like yourself that want to kind of get to these ranks, what would you suggest to them?
So I would suggest, one, you want to look at when you can incorporate. Because the biggest expense that you'll pay as a Canadian, regardless of whether you're an entrepreneur or not, is taxes. And having a corporation can help you pay less tax, basically. So that's one little nugget. Two is utilizing the tax-free savings account as an investment account. What a lot of people do is they just take money, they put it in a tax-free savings account, and it's all in cash, and it doesn't do anything for them. And then the third thing I would say is make sure that you have someone there to help you. Because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. They don't necessarily need to be your servicing financial advisor, but someone that you can just talk to bounce ideas off of, make sure you're doing the right thing, make sure you're not jumping into anything too rashly.
I love it. How do they find you, Nathan?
How do my clients find me?
Yeah, how does the world, how does our audience find you if they want to hire you?
I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to be best serviced by someone in your area, so you can look, on the Investors Group website and go to the website and find an advisor near you. How they find me, they can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm full open access there. Or if you're in Toronto, I'm sure I'll see you at a networking event if you go to those.
Big networker.
Yeah.
I love it. Likewise. Thank you so much, Nathan.
No problem.
We've had Nathan Clarke here on the DYNAMO Show. This is episode 48, and we will be right back after this short commercial break. And welcome back to the DYNAMO Show. I am your host, James Erdt, the Chief Architect of WOW for DYNAMO Entrepreneur. And do we have a Dynamo here today? Karen Toth, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you.
Such an honor to have you on the show. I'm very grateful for you coming today. I would love to learn a little bit about the journey. Why don't you share, going back maybe to your earlier years, some mountains maybe that you were climbing, valleys and rivers and oceans that you were swimming. Care to share?
Sure, yes. Okay, I was a single mom.
Okay.
And being a single mom, for me, I was working really hard and long hours and stuff. And then I decided to take a journey into entrepreneurship.
Okay,
So,
very good. What were you doing before entrepreneurship?
Well, actually, I had been in business before, and then I got a job in between my husband's business and then my personal business.
Yeah.
So then I went to and studied at the Y.
Okay.
Became a fitness instructor.
Okay, great.
Loved it.
Yeah, right on. I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Not at the Y, I did
but
Good Life Fitness. Yeah.
Right. So and then I took the weight training, and then I took Canadian personal trainers.
Yeah. Certification.
Well, I didn't take the certification. I just started studying it.
Okay.
And then I found Pilates.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Very
and
good.
that was in 1998.
Okay.
So then I started taking the Pilates training, and as soon as I finished my hours in Pilates, I went into the studio in Toronto. I came into Toronto from Kitchener, and I laid on the floor and did this movement lesson, and I'm like, I couldn't even describe it to you. It was just so different.
Okay.
So I took another day off of work, and I went in and did one of these lessons again.
Yeah.
And she got us up halfway through the lesson. And you could see everybody, their body was like one half was stressed and aged, the men, the women, everything, right?
Yeah.
The other half was vibrant, alive, even the breasts, everything, the eyes, everything. I'm like, well, this stuff is really powerful. What is it, right?
Yeah.
So then that woman stopped teaching there, so I went to a studio just actually down the street on DuPont.
Yeah.
And found the Feldenkrais Center, and I started going to these workshops every weekend that I could possibly.
Okay.
And I was incorporating this in my Pilates classes.
Okay.
But I would tell people.
What was it called?
It was called Feldenkrais.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah,
very good,
so it rhymes with paradise, Feldenkrais.
Yes. Very good.
Yes.
So you became certified in that?
Well, then that was, I just started adding it, and then it's a 4-year training.
Okay, I see.
And there was one in
Fairly
Toronto. It's not an accredited training, but it's okay. But I figured if I went to Toronto, I'd run home and teach Pilates classes, look after my kids. So I decided to find somewhere else. So I found a woman in California, and her name was Annette Baniel.
Okay.
And I chose to study with her. So 4 times a year I would fly to California.
Oh, wow. You were really committed.
Yes,
Yeah,
because
wow.
for 4 years.
Yeah.
And did this training. And it was her claim to fame is she worked with children with special needs.
Oh my.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I had no intention.
With this particular
modality,
Okay,
yes.
great.
I had no intention of working with children. My goal was to work with adults and athletes.
Yes.
But you had to do the basic training. And then after the basic training, then you had to do the children's fundamental mastery training.
Yeah.
And then you could do the anti-aging and vitality, and then the elite athletes.
Oh, okay.
So she had
tiered.
Yes, and it was like I started working with the kids during the training because we had to physically work with them.
Okay, okay.
And the changes that happened for me not knowing were just amazing. They were magical.
Really?
And it's like, oh, like what right do I have not to share with the world? So and from that I actually got to go to Hong Kong, Singapore and Bangkok, working with children.
All over.
Yeah, I had a satellite office in Vancouver. I was working in Edmonton and Calgary. Just totally.
It's amazing how certain things take us down different paths, you know, if we're open to those opportunities and those doors and we go through them.
Yeah.
That's wild. You still working with kids?
I still work with kids. And
that's great.
The results are just amazing.
Special needs kids?
All kids, but...
All kids.
But,
kids are kids.
Yeah, but special needs is a large population that I see, and it's just, you can see them when you're doing whatever. Like there's over 1,000 different movement lessons.
Oh, wow.
So not just movements, but lessons. And when you're working with a child, you can see like this little light bulb comes on in their brain, and the parents are, and so the brain, you can see that they're connecting new neural connections.
Wild.
And very fast, and it could be at the rate of 2 million per second.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. It must be really rewarding to see that.
It's fabulous. Yeah.
So what does your practice look like nowadays?
Well, now I see typical kids. I see children with special needs. I see people like that. I have one lady that comes from. She has Parkinson's.
Okay.
She donated a kidney, and she's had 2 hip replacements, so it's kind of interesting.
Oh my.
Yeah, so it's interesting.
And she's seen some great results?
Oh, she comes and she says when she leaves, she doesn't feel the Parkinson's in her body. No,
So it's working for her?
It's working for her.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. And is there like any sort of like a support community for it? Like is there any sort of groups that you can go to or like a tribe that you can belong to?
Yeah, there's the Feldenkrais group, which is around the world.
Okay.
And there's also the Anat Ben-Yael method group, which is now around the world as well. The first person in India just passed the practitioner training.
Okay.
So so you can go visit people in different countries.
Have you been to India?
I haven't yet. That's one of the places I would love to go to.
Yeah, I'm here and I'm in India and in Mumbai, so I love it there. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Oh yeah, they got all different kinds of healing modalities over there. Very, very different. Ayurvedic, very popular.
Yeah, that's good, which is great because then it's food and exercise and everything.
It works. Very different style.
Yes.
Very different style. You know, here's a lot of potions and lotions and pills, and you know, it's just very, very different over here. You know what Western medicine is compared to, you know, how they do things over there in Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So who inspired you? Like who inspired you to get started on this path?
I just kept following my heart.
Okay.
So it's like, oh, I like that. So I just kept doing what I like. So I never got bored. Yeah, I'm more excited and inspired because it comes from inside instead of somebody telling me.
So there's no like guru that you were kind of following?
No, it's just like it happens, right?
It just happened. That's amazing. That's amazing. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I hope to see more people doing this work, and I see that there's a fellow that's actually doing something similar with UFC people.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
I love UFC.
So
I'm a big fan of MMA.
Yeah, so it's getting people moving in ways that they're not typical moving, and that's what this is.
Yeah.
And then you can, when you know what you're doing, you can do anything. So when you know how to do things slowly, if you can't do it slow, you can't do it.
This is good. That's a good point.
Yeah, so when you can do anything fast, slow it down, slow it down, slow it down, slow it down, slow it down. And then when you can slow it down so much, then all of a sudden, when you do it fast, it becomes even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Precise.
Yeah, more precise and more dynamic.
I love it.
Yeah.
Now, are you exploring any other modalities, or do you stay pretty razor sharp focused?
I'm pretty well staying in there, although I am going to try Access Conscious, which is a hands-on thing. I haven't done it yet, and they hold different points on the head, and that too changes neural connections.
Okay.
So I'm about the brain.
The brain. Yeah.
Give me a brain and
You're very neuro.
Yeah. I'm a nerd.
I actually just had a study of my brain done where it's studying the neural pathways of how your brain is wired and connects to each other. And at the end of it, there's like 5 different segments that they looked at, and I wouldn't be able to term it properly,
Right.
but one of them was how logically you think and you put things together. And the guy looked at me and he goes, I don't know how you do what you do in regards to building what you build, because logically you have no logic. Like there's like what's going on in your brain is like scrambled eggs. Like with that particular segment of your brain, and it's probably because I did so much partying and back when I was a kid and stuff like that. So he goes, there's something very superhuman about you going on that allows you to connect in this 3D world logically, because technically you should not be able to. Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, because
I'm just having fun.
You're doing great. Like you've come so far. I'm excited to meet you. And,
thank you.
And hear your story and what all you've done. Like it's like totally amazing.
Yeah.
And then you've got the farm going for.
Yeah, for the at-risk kids.
Yeah,
I was one of those kids, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. So these other kids can do it too.
Well,
how are you giving back?
Well, I'd like to contribute a little bit to that, but I've been wanting to come. I haven't come to Toronto yet for one of your meetings, but I do follow them.
We'll have to get you out with the girls' ranch.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because just giving the girls an insight of their bodies and how their bodies are functioning, and the more that you can feel this, the more then you can feel the emotions and share that with other people, right?
We're going to have a lot of sharing to do.
That sounds
all right, Karen, thank
me.
you so much. This is the DYNAMO Show. I am James Erdt, and we will be right back after this short commercial break. Welcome back to the DYNAMO Show. I am your host, James Erdt, the Chief Architect of WOW for DYNAMO Entrepreneur, a brand that supports experts in living well and doing good around the world. Not just putting the oxygen mask on themselves, but also putting the oxygen mask on their community. And boy, do we have an expert here for you today. His name is Jamelle Lindo.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
So happy
Good to see you.
Amazing
I am
to be here.
honored to have you here. I hear you're doing some really great work, but before we get into that work, let's talk about the journey. Maybe share a little bit about your younger days and kind of how you got here.
For sure, man. I mean, my younger days, I would say, were pretty humble days, pretty humble beginnings. I grew up in a single-parent household. My parents divorced at a very young age when I was 2 years old. And my mom worked super hard. Like it was amazing. I don't know how she did what she did, but obviously she did it well, because I'm proof I'm here. And also my 2 older brothers are proof they're there, they're doing well too, right? So mission impossible for her. And that's kind of where everything started for me.
And Dad, was he in the picture still?
Dad is in the picture, but not in the household. So he's an international drummer, which is pretty cool.
An international drummer?
Yes, so he, for the most part of my childhood, was actually touring. And then on holidays and things like that, he'd come back, so we'd have some time to interact. We normally go and see him on weekends. So he was in, and he was in and out. And my mom was kind of the person that was there more consistently.
Are you a musician?
I am not a musician, but I did dabble a little bit in, I won't say what kind of music it was here, but I dabbled a little bit, you know. Not my thing, not my talent. My brother, oldest brother, is a phenomenal musician. Yeah, he's a rapper, producer.
So he picked it up from your dad.
He did. And he drums too,
There you go. There you go. Very good, very good. So with your mom having, being a single mom and raising, what, 3 boys?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And where are you in the tier?
Right at the bottom, the last one.
Bottom.
The spoiled one, they would say,
you're
right?
the baby.
The baby,
you're
yes.
still the baby.
Can't escape that term no matter
still
what,
the
right?
baby. That's
Yeah, I'm
right.
still a baby, I would say.
You'll always be the baby of the family.
I still haven't grown up, man.
That's it, that's it. So where did you start? Where's your beginnings?
So my beginnings are in Mississauga, Ontario, you know, outskirts of Toronto.
Very good.
That's where I grew up. I'm
at the Marilyn Monroe Towers.
Oh, there you go,
Yeah.
right? So that was a new establishment. When that happened
Right.
in Mississauga, it was amazing.
It was a big
so
thing.
exciting when they finally built that.
Yeah.
I think I was in high school at the time
That's
that
right.
they built that.
I'm a big investor in the buildings.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Right. So you made a good investment decision.
I love it there. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
Nice building.
Beautiful city. I love it, man.
Yeah.
I grew up there. All of my friends that I've had from the area are still
Yeah.
my friends till today. I
Yeah.
love them. They're like brothers to me.
Yeah.
And we know the city like the back of our hands, you know?
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. I'm fairly new to the city now. I mean, I was more in Oakville, you know,
Yeah.
but then I moved to Mississauga. I fell in love with it, got heavily involved in the multicultural festival and became a Mosaic producer, like this particular show.
Yes.
Is a multicultural producer.
Yes.
I'm dear friends with Bonnie and Brian.
Wow,
you know, so I'm a
fantastic.
big fan of the city too.
There you go. So you're well acquainted with it as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Right.
no, you went to high school there and you went to university, or?
I did. You know, it's funny.
Yeah.
I went to Clarkson Secondary School.
Oh, okay.
And I did
Clarkson, yeah.
French immersion my entire life.
Yeah.
Don't speak to me in French though. Like my French is terrible. Now. Like it's pretty much non-existent.
Oh, and even French immersion.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
But I did do
really?
French immersion, so I had to like write in French.
Yeah.
All my classes were in French.
Yeah.
Except English. English was not in French. English was in English.
Well said, yeah.
Math was also in English because
Yeah.
it's numbers, right?
Yeah.
But after a while, when you don't use it, it just kind of
Disappears.
falls away. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it was
yeah.
a great school.
I'm sure if you went
experience.
to France on vacation, you'd pick it up.
I think some of it would come back to
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
It does every now and again. Someone tests me, and I, jab
Yeah.
back a little bit.
Now, when you were younger, compared to what you're doing now, were you inspired in a similar way to kind of move into this direction? Because not too many people, say, okay, well, I'm going to be a leadership coach when I grow up.
You know what's interesting about that? It totally blindsided me.
Okay.
Growing up, I was heavily into
How young are
music.
you now, if you don't mind me asking?
28 in a few days.
Oh, good. You don't look a day over 27.
Oh, there you go. That's a good one. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So it blindsided you.
Totally blindsided me, man.
Yeah.
I grew up, I was into music, I was doing rap music, I was producing, and
Yeah.
in my head, I'm like, I'm just gonna be this like rap star, professional performer one day.
Yeah.
And that was my whole track of thinking.
Yeah.
What I didn't realize at the time is that I was always coaching, I was always mentoring, I was always taking on a leadership and supportive role. I just didn't recognize or identify with it until much, much, much later. So it's funny when I think about it now, I felt like I had missed the boat on what I should be doing in life, only to somehow realize that what I love is what I'd been doing so naturally that I didn't even notice it.
All along.
All
along.
And that's kind of what brought me
Was
here.
it positive hip hop?
All hip hop is positive, man.
Yeah, it's music. Music. The language you love.
I think hip hop gets a bad rap because it speaks on some of the realities, and some of the realities are so negative that it's hard to speak about them without being negative. But the rap music that I made was also another form of support, leadership, and coaching, right? Through music. And I didn't even recognize it was showing up there as well. I mean, those days are long gone. I have no interest in doing anything like that
It's
now.
wild. I'm actually just getting into those days.
Are you?
I got my first hip hop track coming out.
So you're a mad rapper yourself?
I was a rave MC for Jungle.
Wow.
And, picked up some skills back when I was a kid.
Okay.
Right? And just partying, right?
Yeah.
And, heavily involved as a DJ, but it was more of a trance DJ. And then I took kind of that love and shelved it for a little while.
Yeah.
And then I was like, something's missing in my life, just like music in general, right?
Yes.
Having run rave companies and owned nightclubs and stuff when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And then I thought, you know what? One of the best ways to get through to these kids in the high schools that I talk to is music. Right now, what's hot is hip hop, right? Hip hop and urban beats, right? So I thought, you know what? Maybe if I take a little bit of that Eminem kind of love the way you lie feel with, Rihanna, that type of
huge record.
Yeah, like sensitive, hip hop track to positivity, and really just focus on really making a game-changing difference with it.
Yeah.
I have my first track called Believe coming out.
That's
right?
amazing.
And 100% of the money is going to be donated to a gang exiting program from the 13 priority neighborhoods in the GTA, especially Jane and Finch.
See, that's a phenomenal way to be able to give back to the community. You're using hip-hop to bring people to a space where they can be free.
And I'm 45 and getting younger by doing so.
Exactly, you are. And you're touching people who are in that young space, right? So that's amazing.
Right. That's
very inspiring.
So I'm loving it. I'm learning all about music. I'm actually working with some fairly big stars.
No way.
I'm by far the smallest person on the track. Right,
Okay.
so it's kind of a We Are the World feel. I've got about 6, 7 stars that have lent their voice.
Yes.
I can't really share about it now, but you've heard about them. All of you have heard about them.
Yes, fantastic.
So it's pretty exciting.
Isn't it interesting when you get into the studio and you realize how much actually goes into making a hip-hop record?
Oh, man.
It's a whole process.
It's like writing a book. Like, you don't really know how much goes into it until you do the journey yourself.
And you respect.
You know? Oh, I respect it. I respect it. And it's such an amazing art. You know, it's just, music is the language, the international language, right?
I agree.
Yeah. So who really inspired you musically when you were doing all that?
Oh my goodness, man, there's so many people that inspired me musically. I think the first CD that I ever bought was Jay-Z, The Blueprint was the first one that I ever bought. Nas was, you know, incredibly amazing growing up. I remember when his first album came out, and then Stillmatic came out, and everyone was buzzing about it, and it just had these amazing records. But my all-time favorite, because of the lyricism, was always Eminem, the early stages of Eminem. And it was his lyricism and his ability to be an incredible poet, you know, and speak incredible truth.
That's right.
Is what I love. Now, obviously, was he socially acceptable? No. But should art be socially acceptable? Maybe, maybe not, right? So he was one of my all-time favorites.
Definite leader.
I can't go back to that stuff now. It doesn't resonate with me the same way. Today I can listen to, you know, Chance the Rapper. He's got a much more uplifting feel. You know, other than that, I can't get into it anymore.
All good. What we're going to do is we're going to take a short commercial break, but when we come back, we're actually going to talk a little bit about business. We're going to talk about you being a leadership coach.
Yes.
You know, how you got into it and what you're doing to serve the world. How's that sound?
That sounds amazing. Thank you, man.
Okay, so we're going to be back after a short commercial break, so hang tight. Welcome back to the Dynamo Show. I am your host, James Erdt. I'm sitting here with Jamelle Lindo, the leadership coach.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Let's talk about what being a leadership coach means to you.
Sure. So, I mean, ideally, a person shouldn't really need a leadership coach, right? It's one of those interesting concepts and ideas because I believe that everybody comes in already as a leader. We all know what we want out of life, but then somehow, at some point...
Don't we have like a 1 trillion chance to become a leader here at the human race?
There you go, right? but you know, when we come in, we know what we want. You know what I mean? You're a person who's discovered that, and you're expressing that.
Yeah,
but a lot of us along our journey, we get stunted, and then we start living a life of what we should do, or moral obligations, or obligations from society. Right. And I believe we do need to balance and understand those things, but somehow we lose our own inner purpose. So being a leadership coach is about supporting other people in becoming leaders of their own lives again, as opposed to living a life of obligation and what you should be doing.
Now, I know you're big on self-awareness.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. Now, what does self-awareness mean to you, and how do you instill it in your clients?
That's amazing. So first thing is I don't really instill it in my clients. So my clients come to me in a space where they're ready and willing to become more self-aware.
So they're open.
They're open, and then they provide me with an ability to give them a tool. So all I do is provide you with a tool that's going to help you to become more aware if that's already your intent. Now, what is self-awareness? Self-awareness is essentially the ability to be able to reflect and understand your internal experience of life, your internal condition of life. So what are you thinking at any given moment, right? How is that informing your emotions? Because whatever you're thinking does inform your emotions, which then in turn informs your actions, what you do. Now, how is what you're doing now informing your experience of life and your relationships, right? Usually what happens is when we do things, we mess up relationships or situations and we see the result, but we don't trace it back to where it originated, which is within you somewhere. That's where the self-awareness component comes in, being able to see, understand, and navigate that part.
Well said. So there's EQ and IQ united and strong. Let's talk about the Dynamo Show because we love what's going on. It's time for some justice and time for some truth. Let's realize what we can do. EQ versus IQ.
Wow. I can't just act like I was not blown away just now by that. We're just going to ignore that you just dropped a hot bar to ask me a question. Anyway, I think it might have been a freestyle too. Even more impressive. Okay, so anyway, difference between EQ and IQ. So IQ is the measure of intelligence. It's been around forever, and for the longest time we've said, you know, that determines success, right? But then why do we see so often that people with high IQ are not as successful in life or in relationships?
Word.
And companies, corporations are seeing more and more of this, right? In the IT world, it's like this big problem that we have all these smart people, but for some reason they're not progressing. They're not able to build relationships. They're not able to lead groups to interact. And what we're finding now is that there's this other kind of intelligence, which is EQ, emotional intelligence, which essentially breaks down into 5 different areas.
Okay.
So you've got self-awareness, which we talked a little bit about, self-regulation, motivation, social skills, and empathy. So these things deal with not only how you relate to and understand yourself, but also how you relate to and understand other people as a part of your environment. And it ultimately comes down to, if I could simplify it completely for you, I'd say it comes down to relationships. Okay?
Everything's relationships.
Everything is relationships. And take yourself, for example, right? How many incredible relationships have you built, have you had that have been beneficial for you and for that person?
That's it. There's
right?
one more right here.
There's one happening right here. So imagine, right, if you didn't have the ability to develop those kinds of relationships, would you achieve the same level of success?
Never.
Exactly. So it's almost like, you know, IQ is what you know, but EQ is how you go about it with people.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Where do you see Jamal, let's say, in like 5 years?
5 years, I mean, I'm in a space right now where I just want to do as much as I possibly can and give as much as I possibly have to give on the biggest scale possible, you know? So in 5 years, I hope to be doing exactly what I'm doing now, but just tenfold.
Okay.
More people to influence, more people to support, more to give, more to express. I imagine myself.
Speaker, author.
Yeah, all of those things.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and right now I'm doing a lot of speaking, facilitating a lot of workshops, doing a lot of one-on-one coaching.
And book?
Oh, that we'll you know, that's on the way too.
Yeah,
That's on the way too.
Little incognito.
Yeah, you know, little incognito. So
what would it be called if it were here now?
Ooh, I don't know if I could throw the name out there, man.
Conceptually?
Conceptually, it would
give
have
us a little sneak, little
okay,
tidbit.
a little sneak.
Yeah.
It would have something to do with architecture.
Architecture, interesting.
Yes, but not in the traditional sense. We'll just table that one, and later on it'll make much more sense.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great, yeah. It's funny, I was going into architecture in, you know, before I became a graphic designer, and I was just like, there's way too many rules here.
I think you're a phenomenal architect. You
the chief architect of now. I think we're all architects. We're the architects of our life.
There you go.
Right? There's 7 billion different universes going on, and we're all the architects of those universes.
There you go.
That's right.
That's what it is.
That's what it is, man.
You know?
So how do you give back? How does Jamal give back? How do you pay it forward?
So I think the number one way for me to pay it forward is, you know, one-on-one coaching. That's a huge faculty for me. That's a huge way for me to be able to connect, and I can personalize, you know, whatever it is that I have to offer to that person's life, to the context of what their experience is. The next way that I absolutely love is to be able to get people together in groups and really talk about, you know, what's happening with them. And share whatever it is that I can share so that they can become empowered in their own lives. You know,
you prefer the one or the group?
I love them both.
One to many or one to one?
I love them both, man.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you this though. As far as speaking, I love being able to get up on a stage and even speak for 5-10 minutes and impact so many people all at once.
All at once,
I love that, right?
It's a big high.
And it's not even the high for me. It's just knowing that that message has reached so many more people than just on a one-on-one.
Yeah.
But the intimacy of one-on-one is so amazing, and it can be so impactful. And when you support someone in creating a positive shift, if they go out into their lives and they are now positively impacting the people in their lives, who are now positively impacting the people in their lives, you can still get to a number, a huge number, right? So I love being a part of that process. I don't take credit for it. I don't think that I do it. I think that people come to me who want to do it, and I just support them in taking the direction that they
How do
like
they
to
actually find you? Do you have a website?
Yeah, sure. So it's Jamelle
feel free to share.
Lindo. Yeah, it's JamelleLindo.com. So that's spelled JamelleLindo.com. And all of my information is there, all of my tags, social media, Instagram, Facebook, all of that, workshops, upcoming stuff.
So you're big on social media. I seen you doing the Instagram stories, or was it a Facebook Live?
Yes, yeah. I do my best with social media. I got to be on it, man. Like it doesn't come as naturally to me as it does.
Everybody,
you know,
has to move in that direction. I mean, it's the way the world is moving, right? It's moving so fast. And it's all about social media, you know?
That's what
you don't even see a lot of websites anymore. Everything is just one of these social media sites.
Yeah, it's all about social media. It's all about personal brand. People want to connect with who you are. And they want to know what you're doing. You
want to know your nuances and your tidbits and what makes you quirky. And you know,
man.
Just the more you see that instead of like this polished Photoshop photo.
Exactly, you know? And that's what I want to give people. I want to give people a little bit more of that experience.
So who inspires you? Who are the 2-3 people that inspired you?
I've been lucky enough to have had many mentors in my life, many amazing people. I would have to say that the first person to inspire me is my mom.
Bingo.
I mean, like the way that she worked.
Hi,
like
Mom.
Hi, Mom. Hey, Mom. It's like, it's unreal. Like, I don't know how, like she would do double shifts. Like she would come in from a night shift and then do a day shift right after. You know what I mean? Just to provide. Man. She's incredible. I don't even know how she does what she does. So like, just so much gratitude there. The second most influential person is actually my godmom. Yes, my godmom. I have
strong women in your life.
Yeah, very strong women, you know, and they've supported me in so many different ways.
That's amazing.
She helped me on, when it came to learning about people and behaviors and thoughts and actions, the psychology of people. I learned so much from her, and she continues to teach me even today.
That's
now we teach each other. She's been, you know, one of my greatest mentors, still is to this day. And hi, Mom, again. You know? And then, if I would say another one, would be on the corporate side.
Okay.
I've been in the corporate environment for almost 10 years now, and I've been blessed enough to work with many amazing leaders. But my leader on the training side has supported me, I would say, and impacted me and influenced me the most. You know, and it's been an incredible experience to have been able to be under his wing and learn about training and the art of facilitation. Facilitation is an art.
I hope you're going to show him this episode.
Oh, yeah. No, I see it. I don't even want to show him the episode. You know what I mean? I'm just joking.
That's awesome. I like your jewelry, by the way.
Thank you.
We're going to wrap things up now. Jamelle, thank you so much for coming on the show.
You are so welcome. Thanks for having me.
This is the DYNAMO Show. We are having all kinds of fun today. 3 more great experts, and they're coming your way on episode 49, so make sure to tune in.
Thank you.
What do kids do when they don't hear the words "I love you"? They look for love elsewhere. You took the words right out of my mouth. Look at this, like we barely even announced it. Your heart brought you here. This is not your head, this is your heart. And it doesn't matter if you have 1 penny or $1 billion or some heart to give or some love to give or some kindness or compassion to give. Anything that comes to your mind, in your head or your heart, we're open to your ideas. And I'm going to talk about sustainability tonight, because without sustainability, which is the key word that I all want you to take away tonight, this is in vain. There's no reason for this, okay? We might have a temporary Band-Aid fix. However, we're looking for long-term, sustainable change, where we have some kids that have lost their way, that have been to hell and back, that are in hell right now. Kids are dying in the streets right now. who is the most far gone in our community? Mississauga, Brampton, Caledon, all right? This is the test boundary of where we're going to create this. Then we're going to go right into Toronto. From Toronto, we're going to start building ranches across the country. 2 in Halifax, 2 in Montreal, 2 in Toronto, 2 in Calgary, 2 in Winnipeg, 2 in Vancouver. So there's a 12 ranch project. Craig, Neil, and myself are in charge of rolling those out and kind of traveling with them as they open. And then we'll obviously be doing these types of meetings in every city respectively across the country.
This is definitely an interesting evening. And if you in any way, shape, or form are interested in being involved with just a really cutting edge sort of project, right, that covers every level from social work to business to philanthropy to permaculture, like everything's being covered. And you want to connect with other, you know, high vibration, plugged in sort of people, then definitely you want to be here.
I think the major takeaway from this tonight is to have a better understanding of the plan around the Revivor Ranch. And I think it's a brilliant idea. I think it's very needed. There's a lot of kids out there that desperately need a second chance that they might not get without this program. So I think it's excellent and highly needed.
I can speak from personal experience. I go to York University. We're 5 minutes away from Jane and Finch. You see the problems. Even in the village, there's a lot of problems. And a lot of it is just that we live in a society that unfortunately puts a lot of the onus and burden on the individual to go out and fix their own lives. But I think that we all know that you need a support system and you need a network of people. And that's really what the people here are trying to provide. It's for these individuals who have slipped through the crack. We're kind of saying, we understand you, we've been there, and now we're reaching back to pull you back up.
The first group of kids, 12 kids, will ultimately probably build it to a few more beds, but we're going to start with a very controllable group of 12 kids to do a beta project for 18 months, okay? Simultaneously, alongside the 18-month rollout of the beta, we're filming the Revivor movie.
I can definitely relate to it. In 2005, I lost my husband to cancer, and my son has struggled ever since. He just came out of rehab in this last summer and is also not doing well again. And I think that had there been a project like this years ago when he really needed help, and he still does need help, but he's too old for this kind of help now, but had there been a project like James is doing now, I think it would have really helped him and saved him from going down the path that he's currently going down. Sometimes it's nothing to do with whether they're bad kids or what. It's really to do with the circumstances that they're in and the way that they deal with it. My kid was educated privately and had a great upbringing and just went down a bad path. It's really very important for us to try to get these kids early and try to help these kids where we can.
Most definitely I can help with the transformation process, that idea of really redesigning your belief systems so you can grow out of that environment. So you're not looking back at that area. I grew up in an environment like that, so I have an understanding of what the challenges are, and I think that knowledge and my background as a coach can actually help with that transformation process to actually help these boys really grow and become the people who can not only get out of the gangs and get away from that environment, but help others to move away from that kind of lifestyle and change their communities.
For me, when I was younger, I was a troubled youth. These are the people that they're trying to help. So for me, it's really important to get like-minded people who have actually walked down the wrong path and then taken the necessary steps to correct their life, just simply because they have more rapport than a lot of the people who are currently in the industry. I know when I was growing up and getting into trouble, a lot of the people that I encountered, they couldn't really relate to my lifestyle. A lot of them were coming from university, academics, suburbia, and so they didn't really relate to the inner city experience.
This program is what a society needs to change the current flow of people being incarcerated and coming out and becoming better criminals. This is a way of avoiding that whole process and actually transforming people who are already on a dangerous path to turn around and become an asset to society.
I'm going to be better. I am better. And what we share with these kids is it doesn't matter what you did in the past. What matters truly right here, right now, is one thing. Who is little Joey right now? Who is little Jane right now? Who are you right now? What do you want to be? What do you want to do? Where are you going? Okay, we can't change the past, but you're not gone yet. You have one choice, and that's to be better.
It's a personal thing for me, right? My brother was one of those kids. I mean, I say it like he's dead or something. He's not. He's unfortunately, he's in prison, right? But he really could have benefited from this because my brother, I watched him firsthand make these really dumb decisions. I wish there were programs and plans that was available for us to take advantage of, so he wouldn't be where he is right now.
We want to have it so the worst of the worst of the worst kids that are potentially on their way to prison or death are banging on our door. I want in Revivor. I am ready to turn my life around. I am a genius. The reason I do this stuff is because I am a genius. I hate school. I don't learn like other kids.
We have to actually pay attention to grabbing kids before they really go off the rails. To have these kids realize that there is something different they can do than what they're doing. What they are doing that gets them into this system, their actions, their decisions, but their actions, but it's not the core of who they are.
These are good kids. Circumstantially, they have lost their way. Circumstantially, they might have a gun put in their mouth and say, if you don't go stab that other kid, we're going to blow your brains out tomorrow. Or we're going to go rape your little sister. Or we're going to go kick the heck out of your dad.
Here I am standing, and life is the most amazing it's ever been. So I have a lot of compassion for working with these young men because my husband was a gang member, and I know the circumstances that he grew up with. And I just saw the humanity in him. You know, a lot of people saw him as a throwaway, but I knew another side.
Being one of these troubled kids myself, didn't have much support in the judicial system, if you will, and you know, been to a couple different jails and stuff like that. Didn't see any kind of great rehabilitation efforts going on in there while I was there, and this is more of a, like James always says, it's a boot camp of love. It's not your traditional crazy boot camp where, you know, you're getting military style put in check. It's more of a loving, molding, guiding type atmosphere, which I think is definitely a plus for these type of kids and the issues that they go through.
What I'd love to do is invite you guys out to the second and bring one friend. One person that you can think of that is the best fit for what we discussed tonight. Okay, just one.
I'm going to be there. You got to be there. You want to be there.
I would love to be a mentor. I would love to even donate. We have a business, so we do t-shirts, even to provide.
This program is needed so badly that I don't understand why there's not prime ministers here today.
I am a Canadian. All right, the boys that are coming to this ranch are Canadian. Right now, especially in the world, with all this crap going on all around the world, that seems to be getting forgotten in a lot of places. And we're here to remind the world that Canada has got it right.